Hey folks, Jordan with TYT and TYT Politics. I hope you're having a splendid Sunday. As you know by now, the news, President Obama denied the final easement or permit for the Dakota Access Pipeline. In doing so, it essentially, for now, closed down the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. All of the production of the pipeline was essentially finished up into the Missouri River, which flows into Lake Oahe. And Energy Transfer Partners, who is the company that owns the pipeline, was essentially waiting for the final permit to drill under Lake Oahe, a river source that gives about 17 to 18 million people water. So President Obama, I like to criticize corporate Democrats and soulless politicians, so I will give him credit in the basic fact that he did the right thing in this instinct. I will not be giving him credit overall, which I'll get to in a minute, because I think we cannot forget his dereliction of duty in many areas, as well as all the politicians across the country that have been derelict in their duties to protect their citizens and to put people's safety before profit. But I just want to give you a little bit more information than the last live stream I reported on the Young Turks Facebook page a few hours ago once the news came down. So essentially, in closing this pipeline or not granting the final permit, there's still the option of a reroute, but that's not a simple thing. The fact is the federal government would be the one basically deciding where the pipeline is rerouted. As we know, federal government, bureaucracy, that could take forever. With Donald Trump as president, who knows, he could decide to reroute the pipeline, 2 miles down the road. However, it's not exactly inexpensive to reroute a pipeline. All the pipe has been laid. The trajectory and path for the rest of the Dakota Access Pipeline is contingent on them drilling through Lake Oahe and this final piece in North Dakota. So rerouting the pipeline here affects the whole entire pipeline, which runs through multiple states. So it's not exactly very easy. It's very expensive to reroute a pipeline. It could cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And at this point, you have to start wondering, not only has the investors in this pipeline had pressure on them from water protectors, environmental activists. We saw water protectors blockade themselves into Wells Fargo the other day in Minneapolis, and we've seen divestment campaigns happening all around the country, people taking their money out of these banks. So, frankly, these companies might just cut their losses. But I think we need to stay vigilant because you can't just remember back to 2 months ago, the pipeline was temporarily halted and everybody did a jumping jacks and credited Barack Obama. The company kept building because the thing that he halted, a lot of people don't know this, it was a voluntary halt. They asked them to stop building throughout the pipeline's path, and the only place that was mandatory that they had to stop building and drilling was pretty much that small sliver of land right next to the Missouri River, which is where he just denied the final permit for. So just because you're seeing the permit was denied now doesn't mean that this project is completely over. President-elect Trump will be in office in January 21st. He's already expressed interest in continuing forward with this pipeline. So that means if you're a water protector, if you're an environmental activist, if you're just a good-hearted, kind citizen, you do a victory lap today, you hug people. You'll see a video come out on youtube.com/TYTpolitics very shortly. I interviewed people after the news came out. It was understandably joyous in the Osheti-Sakoi camp. I personally feel joy. I've put a lot into this story, and I've been here a couple times, and it's been a life-changing experience for me to learn about the Native American culture, the oppression they've dealt with for centuries, and just to meet the people I've met and to see the grisly, horrific scenes that I've seen, which is where I'm going with next. Because the bottom line is, I don't have a problem crediting establishment politicians if they do the right thing. But I do have a problem turning a blind eye and pretending that they didn't just allow war crimes to happen. Barack Obama could have stopped this a long time ago. Barack Obama, even though he has denied the final permit, it's on Barack Obama's hands that a 21-year-old girl nearly lost her arm. Sophia Wilansky, who is still having surgeries to try to keep her arm that was nearly blown off by a grenade. It's on his conscience that another woman is blind because of tear gas. They tried to save her retina. Last thing I heard from people close to her, she can't see. It's on his hands. All the people who had mass hypothermia weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, on that bridge. It's on his hands. All the people who have mental health issues and PTSD because they've been either tear gassed, pepper sprayed, shot with rubber bullets. All unarmed people. That's on his conscience. There's blood on his hands. I was joking the other day that it seems like North Dakota has seceded from the rest of the country because laws don't apply here. So just because we could, on one hand, credit the president with denying the final permit, but let's not, close our eyes and pretend we're, sing kumbaya. He's got a lot of explaining to do. And the politicians that sat by and said nothing, I'm talking to you, Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, we know all the Republicans are corrupt, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell. You all sat by as your citizens that you're supposed to represent. We're getting shot with bullets in the head. Rubber bullets can still kill you. We're getting tear gas, pepper sprayed, maced, grenades started coming, freezing water. You all sat by and let that happen. Maybe you didn't want your oil contributions to dry up. But you'll be the first ones going out there with Black Lives Matter protesters and signs when it's politically expedient for you to do so. So if we just close our eyes, say, thank you, President Obama, you're terrific, then what just happened, we allow that to be normalized. It's not normal for police to blockade a road for weeks to protect an oil pipeline. It's not normal for police, in response to people swimming across a river, to try and pray, unarmed people trying to pray, to shoot them in the face with rubber bullets, to pepper spray them and tear gas them from point blank range. That's not normal. It's also not legal. That's called a war crime. Tear gas is a chemical weapon, not even supposed to be used in war. I mean, I was sitting there, North Dakota, crossing rivers and, seeing hundreds of people just trying to get to where their ancestors are buried and pray, and being met with freezing water, rubber bullets, pepper spray. And what frustrated me the most is it's like Donald Trump's America. This is a post-factual America we live in now, where all this stuff could happen. It's clear as day if you're on the ground and see it. But the media was reporting a completely different narrative, that these were agitators and hippies. And, if you haven't seen my interview, if you need a chuckle, go to youtube.com/tytpolitics. I went a little undercover yesterday. Might have not been the most ethical thing, but sometimes you need to blur the line, I guess, to get what you want done. I went undercover as a reporter for Real American News, and I interviewed people in Bismarck, all white people, and the level of ignorance. If you don't know, Bismarck was where the pipeline was supposed to be routed, but the white people said no, and 5 minutes later, they fucking put it down where the natives live. So, shocker, most of the people I interviewed didn't even know that it was supposed to go through Bismarck. When I told them that, of course they didn't care. One gentleman who literally was emotionless actually said to me, well, if the pipeline only spills a little bit, that's progress. So, you see that there's a mix of uninformed people, people without empathy, people who don't care about other people. And when I was growing up and I got politically active, I was always taught Republicans only care about things if it affects them. Well, we have found out the Democrats only care about things or problems or water going bad or any type of environmental or economic issue. They only care about it if it affects them and their family. And that's what we're learning, because this was always about more than water. It was always about more than land. This is about, do you let your country be overtaken by plutocrats who don't give a damn about you and continue to rig the system in their favor? And when I interviewed these people yesterday, I was in character. I wanted to get every last white supremacist, racist word out of them, because I'm trying to show you this is the country. It's not the whole country, but large swaths of this country are ignorant, are misinformed, and are racist. And that's an objective thing to say. That's not my opinion. You see it on the screen. I can objectively tell you that. And a lot of these people are good people. You know, like my parents, for example, they watch Fox News. They like Donald Trump. They're just misinformed. And I tell them every day, they're good people. They raised me fairly well. They mean well. But a lot of people are just misinformed and need outlets like the Young Turks and other independent media and citizens journalists to set them straight, to lock them in a room and be like, this is what's actually going on. But my point is, we all need to be vigilant, because the next step is you got to make Trump actually do the right thing and not reverse this decision. But other than that, there's still people who need to come to justice for the war crimes that went on here. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to rain on people's parade, because today is a good day. But the mainstream media is going to play this as, oh, President Obama swoops in and does the right thing. People who wanted this pipeline to be stopped might credit the president and then think that kumbaya, we're all done. But no, because as the media and everybody else said, you can't allow Trump's racism and how he won this election be normalized. You cannot allow, they're not even police, they're criminals. You cannot allow oil police to do what they have done for the last few weeks and the last months to get away with that. Because if you allow that, then the next Standing Rock, the next pipeline, the next black guy who gets shot and they're for no reason and gets killed, and you have protesters come in. If it's not in Baltimore, if it's not in Baltimore, if it's not in Ferguson, if it's in North Dakota or Wyoming or another place that's less populated, doesn't have as big of a media market, you'll essentially have what you had here, which was essentially Syria, where gas was used. And real bullets are used. And by the way, pretty soon, real bullets were going to be used. It's not a coincidence that Obama made this decision a day before between 2,000 and 3,000 veterans were expected to go on a bridge and possibly confront the police, which potentially still could happen. I don't think there's going to be a mass confrontation because I think that today was good news. I think the veterans, by and large, are here to support the water protectors and the Native Americans, and I don't think they're looking to start trouble. I think they're here to help create justice. But I want to get to another person, because I wanted to say something about this yesterday, but I just didn't have time to do a live stream. When you have the Attorney General of the United States of America, Loretta Lynch, who's not going to be the Attorney General in a month, Trump put forward this racist Jeff Sessions. When you have the Attorney General of the United States sitting by as all these things I've already described have been happening for weeks, people being arrested by oil police without having their rights read to them, people being thrown in jail for days without being given a phone call, which is against the law, people being thrown in jail and illegally strip searched, people's cars being broken down into without a warrant and their camera equipment stolen, people being assaulted while they're arrested. I interviewed a 20-year-old young water protector whose arm was broken upon arrest. You have a young woman, 37. Her name is Red Fawn. She's in jail. She's the only one left in jail. She was arrested on attempted murder charges. As far as I know, there still hasn't been a gun produced of this woman, a medic, who for a living tries to help people. She's in jail. They haven't given her her glasses, and they have kept her commissary money from her. I mean, if I don't have my glasses, I can't see. If I'm stuck in jail without being able to see, that's called psychological warfare. That's called psychological torture. And she's still in jail. For what? We don't know. I just interviewed her sister the other day. Her name is Red Dawn. You could watch that on the channel as well. This is a political prisoner in jail. They say she tried to kill police. It would be very hard that she tried to kill police, considering when they said the shots were fired, she was pinned down by about 7 police officers. She'd have to be fucking Rambo, reincarnated, to be able to fire off 2 shots pinned down by 7 police officers. But the point is, human rights violations have happened here for weeks. War crimes have happened here for weeks. So let's not do a little dance for good old Barry Obama and, say, oh, thank God he finally came through, the progressive. He sat by, remember, he said, let it play out, as all these people were assaulted by the oil goons. And while all these people were falsely arrested A lot of these people have lost a lot of money with their cars impounded, having to pay hundreds of dollars, if not $1,000, to get their cars out. Have had to hire private lawyers on bullshit charges. Not everyone is Amy Goodman, God bless Amy Goodman, who through her hard work and dedication and talent has a huge platform so that when she went into jail, the judge tossed her charges, her baloney charges. Most people don't have that platform that she has. And most people were arrested on similar bullshit charges as her. But I know plenty of people who still have felony charges against them for nonsense and are going to have to waste a lot of their money. So the Attorney General does a live stream or some type of video, and she says a mixed bag of nothing. How, it was like Hillary Clinton's statement when she was asked about this. Well, I need to stroke the penis of every constituent here. So we need to support the police. We need to support the protesters. We need to bring people together for open dialogue. No. You're the Attorney General of the United States. You are the top law enforcement officer. Your one and only duty is to enforce the law and to prosecute people who break the law. Call me crazy, but I think that's your job. I think that's your department's job. So your response before the president just denied this, you said you were going to bring in more community policing to North Dakota. Yes, we needed more police. You already had these Morton County sheriffs dressed like fucking they're going into Syria in militarized tanks, Humvees, visors. They carry assault weapons, rubber bullet guns. And Loretta Lynch was going to bring in more community police? Are you kidding me? That makes me want Jeff Sessions to come in. No, Loretta Lynch, you and your department should have had people on the ground here 3 months ago, after dogs were unleashed by private security mercenaries biting human flesh. When do you get to a point in this country where you don't give the benefit of the doubt to the powerful, where you don't just believe whatever the police tell you? Because the Bismarck Tribune here might as well be called the Bismarck Police Department. They just reported what the police told them. Same thing with CNN until they graced us with their presence this week. They came in because there might have been confrontation between the police and the veterans. I was here when it wasn't the biggest story. I was here when the videos weren't getting that many views because I thought it was an important story. Not because I want to pat myself on the back, but because the point is, it doesn't take courage to do something when all the spotlight is on you. Courage comes when nobody's paying attention and it's the right thing to do anyway. And I know most people wouldn't say this on the same day Obama denied the permit, but Obama's legacy is tainted by this. Okay? The guy who said, I don't believe in dumb wars, called Iraq a dumb war. The guy who said, I'm going to pull everybody out of Afghanistan. Well, President Obama, besides amping up the drone state and killing innocent civilians around the globe, which by U.S. drones, which creates more terrorists, President Obama allowed a war to go on in North Dakota. But there weren't two sides. I hated reading these stories about confrontation. No, confrontation is when you have two sides being aggressive and two sides at equal level. You had one side carrying prayer sticks, signs, and Native American instruments to bang on and sing, and the other side was carrying Uzis. That's not a confrontation, that's an assault. Now, I've been here 5 times. Was there never an aggressive action taken by Native Americans or water protectors? Of course not. I'm not going to lie to you. But I never personally saw any of them hold a gun. I can only tell you what I saw directly. I never saw that. I never saw Native Americans or water protectors trying to stab anyone. I saw some people very frustrated because they were trying to save their water, trying to strategize very aggressive actions. But that happens in situations like this when you're being oppressed. And you know what? If somebody's going to shoot me in the face with a rubber bullet and tear gas me and pepper spray me, I'm not going to then offer them tea and cake. I might want retribution. That's kind of human. So where do we go from here? The bottom line is Donald Trump, well, first of all, there needs to be lawsuits against the Morton County Sheriff, against Governor Jack Dalrymple, who is leaving office December 15th. He has allowed all of this to happen. He has reveled in all this happen. He has stocks in ExxonMobil and countless other oil companies. And essentially, as the chief law enforcement and political officer in North Dakota essentially sold his soul and his wallet to Energy Transfer Partners, who, by the way, let's not forget, offered the police department to pay for their overtime and all their expenses. So you had bribery out in the open here in North Dakota. There needs to be lawsuits against Morton County Sheriff. There needs to be lawsuits against Governor Jack Dalrymple. Frankly, there needs to be some consequences at the U.S. Justice Department. What were you doing while all this was happening? Do you not have sources in North Dakota that could have told you this? Do you not have the internet? Do you not know what the Young Turks is? How dare you? You knew this was going on. You didn't do a damn thing. And again, by letting it just sit there and by saying nothing about it and doing naked jumping jacks that this pipeline temporarily has been stopped, you normalize that behavior. I have a veteran in the room with me right now. He didn't go and fight for this country to protect the rights of oil companies. I don't know many veterans that would do that. I spoke with many of them today and interviewed a few. They didn't go and sacrifice potentially sacrifice their life, sacrifice their personal relationships, family relationships, their physical health, their mental health to protect the rights of the plutocrats. I don't want to speak for them, but that's what I'm getting from talking to them. So it's a disservice to those veterans. It's a disservice to the Native Americans, the water protectors that sacrificed their lives. I've interviewed many water protectors who quit their jobs to move to North Dakota and this camp, who have left their kids temporarily. A lot of people gave up a lot for this. Most people were not here smoking the sheeb and listening to Bob Dylan. Most people were here fighting on the front lines, helping in the camp. So these people need to be held accountable. Because if you don't, and you know who else needs to be held accountable? The mainstream media. Because I give them credit that they came in the last minute, but I don't want to hear that CNN or MSNBC or any of these people were finally here. Yeah, $1 late and a day short. You weren't here when your mega platform could have made a difference, could have saved a girl from having her arm blown off, could have saved somebody's eyesight, could have saved the mass PTSD. There's also something else I want to get across. And this is coming from a white dude who never, fortunately growing up, I didn't really struggle with oppression. I wasn't rich, but I was not poor. I had Jew jokes cracked at me, but if that's the worst that ever happened to me, I'm in good shape. Let's not sit here and think that because a pipeline might have been shut down, that Native American oppression is over. Because that's not happening, folks. When the cameras leave Standing Rock, when the signs leave Standing Rock, when the non-natives leave Standing Rock, it's not like the Native Americans are going to be made whole. And hundreds and centuries of oppression, stealing of land, murder, rape, kidnapping, it goes on. Just disappears. Bernie Sanders said it on the campaign trail. Native American rights are our Native American struggle is our struggle. Because if we care about black people, if we care about LGBT people, if we care about anyone who is oppressed and who has less of a platform and less of a voice, we need to care about Native Americans. You know what? I interviewed so many Native Americans who had every right to hate me. Not because I did something personally to them, but they had every right to hate me, to hate other white people coming to this camp, even though those people were trying to help. They had every right to hate us. We stole their land and we killed most of their people. That's the history of America. But what's been incredible to me is their incredible ability to forgive and to see things in the way of prayer. So I think just because Standing Rock might have a victory today, I'm going to get to the fact that we have to stay vigilant. We need to keep doing stories on the plight of the Native Americans. There's a kidnapping epidemic where women are getting kidnapped, not just here, but all over the country in Native reservations. There is widespread poverty in Native communities because the government hasn't set up systems for them to strive, just like the government has done nothing for African Americans and very little for Latinos. Native Americans are just as human as you or me, folks, and we can't forget that. So I'm going to continue to do stories. I try to go back to places when all the cameras are gone. I went back to Flint when nobody else was there and reported to you that people still can't drink the water. I'll be coming back here. Don't you worry. The bottom line is you either care about everybody or you care about nobody. That's, to me, what being a progressive means. Moving on. Listen, the bottom line is Donald Trump's not going to wake up tomorrow and suddenly, put on a feather and care about the Native Americans. Donald Trump is not going to wake up tomorrow and suddenly understand and have a brain and understand solar and wind is the future, not just for planet Earth, but the economy. Donald Trump, as I told you the whole campaign, is a con man. He doesn't care about the middle class. He doesn't care about working people. And Donald Trump has money, first of all, invested in this pipeline. I keep reading that he sold his shares in Energy Transfer Partners. There's been no evidence to show he actually did that. If I see evidence, I'll report it. But as of now, Donald Trump owns $1 million, is invested $1 million in Energy Transfer Partners, and $1 million in Phillips 66, which is a subsidiary of Energy Transfer Partners, and they own 25% of the pipeline. And Donald Trump, forget the money for a second. Donald Trump believes in fracking. He believes in dirty oil. He's an idiot. He doesn't know any better. So we can't just say, thank you, President Obama, even though I've already made clear I tepidly thank him because he's got blood on his hands and he's got a lot on his conscience. He's at fault for most of this. But we got to mobilize now. You can't wait till Trump gets in office because he'll put it through if pressure is not on him. How that mobilization happens is not for me to say. I will cover it. Whether it's at the White House, whether it's at Trump Tower, whether it's people remaining at Standing Rock, who knows? But you got to keep the heat on Donald Trump because this is a man that he will go through with a conflict of interest if he's allowed to do it with no attention. He will. He will do whatever the hell he wants because at the end, Donald Trump is about Donald Trump. So what I expect to happen is people are going to taste victory today and then start mobilizing against Trump. And that's what should happen. And the last thing I want to get to, and this is a total selfish promotion, but if you guys didn't get the email today, the Young Turks actually emailed out kind of like a fundraiser, a donor drive for investigative reporting. I know a lot of you have been very supportive of my work and TYT Politics and Emma, my colleague, and Eric. And straight up, I'm not going to bullshit you. It costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to send me to Standing Rock 5 times, or to send me to Flint, or to send me to Detroit, to send a cameraman, to pay for food, to pay for flights. TYT has not sold its soul, and as far as I'm concerned, will not sell its soul to a corporate parent. So we're going to continue doing it on a shoestring budget. But we are starting to now try to basically crowdfund through you, because you guys say in the comments how you love this investigative reporting. You guys want fearless reporting. You guys want, David, I will go shave. Thank you. Haven't had a chance. You guys want the reporting that has some heart, but also isn't bought off and isn't afraid. And that's what I'm trying to bring you. And frankly, I'm going to need your help with that. So for me to have help, for me to get a little bit of a raise, if we're keeping it real, for Emma to stay on, for more reporters to stay on, it's up to you. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you every video gets 10 million views. We're not there yet. And every story is not going to get 10 million views, because the bottom line is not every story is about views. Not every story connects. Some stories are just important because it's the right thing to do, whether there's an audience for it or not. But bottom line, if you want to donate, if you want to contribute, so more investigative reporting will happen, where I could go to places like Standing Rock, you go to tytnetwork.com/go. So I'll say it a few times. That's tytnetwork.com/go. And this is kind of a money where your mouth is type of thing. I think that I love the fact that you guys have showed me in comments, showed me in views, showed me in the amount you share the videos, that you want me to continue. You want more reporting. Well, at this point, if you want it, you're going to have to help us out. Bernie Sanders didn't get to where he is just on that wonderful speech of his. You guys powered him with your contributions. So whatever you could do. But I'm not a money hustler. I'm just telling you what the website is. I'm not going to tell you how much to give. You give what you can. It's been really great to get direct emails from people offering money to the channel, things like that. I have forwarded it to my bosses. But if you guys want to donate, that helps me stay on, that helps our travel, that helps our flights, that helps us hire more producers, more reporters. Frankly, I would like not to work 7 days a week for the rest of my life. So it's up to you if you want to contribute. That is tytnetwork.com/go, tytnetwork.com/go, and I will put that information tomorrow on YouTube when we put up this video. So thanks again for supporting me through the Standing Rock reporting. I'll be here tomorrow to cover the veterans. We'll see what happens. As of now, they will be doing a prayer service in the morning. They will be actually asking the Native Americans for forgiveness for the sins of America. So that should be a very powerful ceremony. After that, we'll see. They might be going on the bridge. They might not. We shall see what happens. It'll be interesting. But you can, as always, youtube.com/tytpolitics. We will have a video up tonight showing you the reactions at the camp after the announcement came that the pipeline, the permit, was denied. And again, if you want to contribute to the reporting, it's tytnetwork.com/go. I'm going to bed.